Wednesday, August 25th. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geeknights. Tonight, Miyazaki, the other Miyazakis, Tales from Earthsea.
Let's do this. You know how, this happens to everyone in the world. You get a song in your head, but you don't know what the song is. You know what's even worse?
When you know what the song is?
No. I don't even have the whole song in my head. I've got like the tiniest piece of a single bit from the song in my head. Basically, there's some song, and I'm almost positive that it's gonna end up being like some Britney Spears song or some bullshit like that, right? But it's basically the only part of it that I can get in my head.
All right, you gonna sing it?
Well, kind of. It goes like, dee. It's like a weird techno violin noise, and it goes like, dee, kind of.
That's it?
Or maybe it goes, doo, dee. I forget exactly how it goes, but it's like these four, kind of noises all together. Something along those lines, yeah.
Is it that song?
No.
Is it maybe?
I won't know unless I actually have the real recording of it.
Why don't you use that the iPhone app where you hum in?
Because that what I hum that isn't enough. And the thing is, I don't even know if is it going down, is it or is it?
Scott, are you sure it's a song? Are you sure it's not nothing?
I'm 100%. If it's not a song, then if I can get the rest of it out of my brain, I could make like a #1 dance hit because I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Is it? You're sure it's just a violin? Do you remember anything else from the song? Like
it was a
bass line?
Does a
woman sing?
I kind of associate it with the kind of song that you would hear while you're standing waiting for a concert to start. Like kind of, that kind of song.
What kind of song is that? The last concert I went to that wasn't PAX, I think it was Fantomas doing the music before the concert started.
I don't know, but
was it Fantomas? I mean, they kind of sound like
the kind that they play on the loudspeaker while you're standing waiting for something, that kind. The kind that get you groove.
That's not a kind.
That's a kind.
No, it isn't.
It is.
Most concerts don't have that.
Yeah,
At most, they have a cover band in the front or the opening act.
Anyway,
PAX does that.
I'm sure somebody listening will help me out.
Yes, they're going to help you out with a song that kind of comes down 4 times.
Well, I don't know. It might go I think it might go up, down,
Wait,
left,
up or down?
I don't know.
So here's what you've said. It does something that might be up or down and maybe involves a violin.
Well,
4 times.
It's a techno-ish, violinish noise. Like a digital violin.
At this point...
And there's a piece of the song where it plays 4 notes, and then the other song happens, and then, the thing happens a few times.
Wait, so other stuff happens?
I don't know what the other stuff is. I can't remember it at all.
So how is this playing in your head? What does it sound like in your head?
I cannot reproduce it with my mouth, because my mouth is not a digital violin. And in my head, it plays back different ways.
So you don't even remember it. You've got nothing stuck in your head.
I remember the sound of that kind of instrument. So having a 4-note riff kind of thing.
But how does the riff go? Listen to the first 2 notes of the riff. It's in your head. You can hear it right now.
It goes like
like that.
No, because it doesn't continue with that instrument. That instrument only plays that little bit, and the rest of the song does not involve that instrument.
Can you name any other song that has a similar instrument?
No.
No?
No.
I don't think you've got anything stuck in your head.
I do.
Or I think you've got so little stuck in your head that you've kind of found an exception of the human brain. It's so little that you will never be able to identify it, and even if you do, you won't be sure if it's it. So you'll never get it out of your head.
If I hear it for real, I'll be absolutely sure that it's it.
How do you know? What if you hear something similar?
Because it's an NP problem. You can easily verify it.
See, the trouble is there are so many songs that are so similar that what if you hear a song and you're not sure if it's it, but it's the closest you'll ever get?
That'll be bad. But
yes,
even if I'm sure it's it, and even if it's not it, as long as I'm sure it's it, I'll still feel all right.
You sure it goes 4 times?
I mean, it's definitely 4 notes. That is for definite certain.
How long is each note?
Not very long.
Like a second?
Yeah, it's like maybe like 1 measure is like the whole thing.
1 measure could last like 40 years.
You know what I'm saying.
No, I don't. What's the time signature? What key is it in?
I don't know.
A time signature is not you waving your hand at me.
It's like a couple seconds of, maybe 1.5 seconds-ish.
Wow, Scott. I mean, I'll pick a song I know that you know too, and it goes dip, 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 and I don't remember the rest. What song is that? I mean, you're fucked.
Yeah, you know what? Someone's gonna find out the song. And
But
then,
Scott, the
then what are
song
you
I
gonna
know, the song I'm thinking of, you know the song very well, but did it is not enough.
do? It would be enough if I heard the actual recording and not just you.
But no one's going to hear the actual recording of your thing. They're going to hear you going did, 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 did.
I think someone actually will, though. Post a link and I'll figure out what the song is.
Of a violin going up or down at least 4 times, and then another instrument that isn't the same techno violin.
I'm pretty
doing
sure it's a
something.
techno-y, dancey song, which limits it quite a bit.
Not that much.
And it's possibly a hit.
Scott, I downloaded a torrent some years ago of every dance pop song from 1980 to 1989 legitimately released in the United States.
Well, I think that this
there
is...
are a lot of them.
I think that this is a 2009, 10-ish song, so...
What do you base that on?
Just because it's a song that I never heard a long time ago, but I feel like I've heard it recently.
Uh-huh.
Just feeling.
Any idea where? When did it get stuck in your head?
I think it got in my head a long time ago, but then re-emerged in my head on
Why
its own.
did it re-emerge?
Because brains
You don't have free
are
will.
weird.
Now, you know you don't have free will, so what triggered it? You got to figure out what triggered it, and that will lead you toward the answer.
Brains. They're weird. They do things.
So I guess normally this is when we'd talk about anime news, it being anime night, but
There's only one anime news.
I didn't believe it. Daryl Surratt messaged me and I guess everyone else in the world that he knows on the internet in a panic.
Well,
saying,
actually, before he messaged me, I saw the tweet or retweet of Murayama, who was like, someone important to the studio has died. And I was like, okay. And I just sort of ignored it until I got the message.
Yeah, the message I got, and I think Daryl Surratt put it more eloquently than anyone else in the world
What?
could.
He said this is bullshit.
He said, quote,
That is some- that
Satoshi
is some-
Kon is fucking dead. That is some bullshit.
That is some bullshit indeed. And that is not just some bullshit. That's all the bullshit.
I can't even, this is,
You know what's bullshit?
it saddens
Bullshit man
me
should take care
on
of it.
so many levels, mainly because, myself, Scott, and Emily went to a retrospective of Satoshi Kon's works in New York City not that long ago. And, they screened Paprika, and then he came out and talked to us, and he was really cool. And he very pointedly said, I'm paraphrasing because it was translated and I'm going on memory, he said 4 notes played, I think, by a techno violin.
No.
He basically said, I feel that this is too much of an honor for me. It's too early in my career for you to give me a retrospective. Let me come back after I've actually done something.
Mm-hmm.
And he never did anything else. No movie of his came out after that. That was it.
Yeah, I mean, that was the first time we saw like a single still image of the movie that he's doing next, which you can see on the website for that movie, The Dream Machine, which has a robot in it.
It looks like the
But
movie's going to be
movie?
finished.
They already spent. There's a sunk cost fallacy. They're probably going to finish. They haven't said anything, but I can almost guarantee they're going to finish the movie without him. But is that really going to be a good movie now? I mean, maybe part. And then that's going to be it, right? That's it. He didn't work on anything else. So yeah.
It's just, it bothers me primarily, aside from every other reason. I mean, there have been directors and celebrities and people that I've seen die or I've known about, and then they died, and I was sad. But, like, Hayao Miyazaki has had a full career. I feel like he is trying desperately to die in the middle of his last film. But he keeps going, he keeps making things, and I feel like, while it would be sad if he died, he has done a lot. Tezuka did a lot. I feel like Satoshi
Tezuka
Kon,
died when he was 60, though, so that was still pretty early.
It was, but he still did a lot. I feel like Satoshi Kon would have done twice again as more, and even more beyond that. I can't imagine what he would have done if he had lived another 40 years.
It also doesn't help, right? That, like, really, who else was, making the hits, right? In terms of anime, they're really, in terms of, like, greatest living anime director, I mean, okay, maybe Miyazaki is better in terms of his whole body of work, but Miyazaki lately, not really. Mamoru Oshii lately, not really. Satoshi Kon, in terms of what have you done for me lately, is, even in death, probably the greatest current anime director, in terms of the stuff that he's done recently
Well,
is
it's more
probably
than
the
that.
best.
Satoshi Kon-
What other anime movies in any recent year in the past decade were
The
as good?
closest I can think of.
I guess decade does allow you to bring in like Spirited Away and stuff, but like
Miyazaki.
past few years.
We'll have to go to things like Mamoru Hosoda.
Yeah, right. Which is next level down from Satoshi Kon at least.
What's really sad, well, I guess I keep saying what's really sad. It's all really sad.
It's all sad.
I mean, it's rare that I'm taken aback by the loss of someone like this.
I know, right? It's weird, and I think what really says something is okay, he's made all these great movies and a great TV show, right? He was really awesome and beloved by anime fans.
He was also one of of the successor series of anime directors and anime people. He's one of those people who worked under a great, did key animation, things like that, and worked up and became the great.
Yep.
There aren't that many anime directors doing that anymore.
Right? So having a big reaction in the anime community is kind of expected. But his movies, honestly, at least outside of Japan especially, are not that well known. You know, they're on DVD. They go to a movie theater for a short run, maybe. But most people have no idea who he is or never heard of any of his movies. But yet, it wasn't just like Anime News Network. You know, a Crayon Shinchan creator died. Remember, he got like lost or fell off a cliff or something like that when he went into the woods.
Yep.
Right, and that's a big deal. Crayon Shinchan manga creator. That's like an epic, ultra famous manga with elephant dances in it. You know, it's been going on forever. You know, but they didn't. The only place you heard about that was Anime News Network, at least in English. But Satoshi Kon, you know, at least 24 hours, you know, this morning, he died yesterday, right? But this morning, Kotaku, Boing Boing, every freaking blog, right? You know, that is, you know, gaming, everything was posting about it. Not just the anime sites.
It speaks of how powerful his movies were. I mean, look at his entire body of work. It's not just that he never had a miss or he never had a bomb. It's that without exception, everything he made was brilliant. And it's not just like,
I'm sure like he says his manga wasn't brilliant and haven't read it.
Yeah, but I haven't read it either. So aside from his manga,
all the things that he's known for, you know, starting with, you know, like Rojin Z, Perfect Blue, you know, Magnetic Rose, and, you know,
moving
so
all the way
forth.
on to Paprika, Paranoia
Yes.
Agent. And it's not just us saying this. It's not just like hardcore anime fans saying this. His movies had a real universal appeal, and they were so different from everything else I watch. Anime
They were
or
like
not.
the only, you know, like we grew up watching some animes like Akira and some Leiji Matsumoto stuff and that kind of thing, right? And that's the reason we liked anime, were those kinds of anime. And he's really the only person who is still making those kinds of anime. So it's not just sad for the death of him and the things that he will not create, but also it's like the kind of anime that we like has died. You know, where is the kind of anime we like now? It's gone. There's no more. Who's gonna make it? No one that we know of who is capable of making the kind of anime we like is either passed on or is no longer making the kind of anime we like, or no longer making anime, period. Or is making anime we don't like. So it's just bad.
Though
It's
what
the
got
worst.
me is I wasn't really moved to tears. It takes a lot to actually make me feel that. Like watching Jim Henson's funeral again.
That is the ultimate crying weapon.
That brought me down. But I was reading Anime News Network posted, it was difficult to get to his site because it was just destroyed under just the massive traffic. But some of his final words are there for reading, and Anime News Network has luckily translated some of them. And in regards to his the new movie, I'm pretty sure it's going to be finished and it's going to be what he wanted because it was written by him.
Right, so he wrote it.
The screenplay, everything was by him, and the art director and the character design were someone else. So I have a feeling they'll be able to finish it close to his vision. But a quote from some of his last words. When I conveyed my concerns for Yume Miru Kikai to Mr. Murayama, he said, "It's fine, don't worry, we'll do whatever it takes."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Murayama's like a champ. And the thing was, Gerald pointed out in a tweet, right? Murayama was at Otakon, as he always is. He never misses it.
Yep.
Right? He's staff. And, you know, people were asking him, because he's the head of Studio Madhouse, right? Who does all of, you know, Satoshi Kon stuff. And the people were asking him about Satoshi Kon, of course, because of all of the stuff Studio Madhouse does, that's the stuff we want the most, right? Tell us about the Dream Machine, you know? Come on, give it up. But he knew at that point, right, that Satoshi Kon was, you know, done for. So it's like Gerald was like, what was he thinking when people were asking him that at Otakon?
That must have been really tough.
Like, whoa.
And the worst thing is, I mean, it was pancreatic cancer. It's almost no one survives pancreatic cancer.
Yeah, it's basically it's like, talk about, omoe shinderu.
I mean, by the time you
you're
detect
done.
it, it's too late. There's really nothing you can do. Even massive, crazy treatment gives you like a 5% chance of living 5 years.
Yeah, the biggest problem is simply that you don't really feel anything in your pancreas, right? And like, if you have cancer on your skin, you can see it, even though that's really bad too, right? But if you have cancer in the lung, it's like, I can't breathe, it hurts. You have pains and things. But when you have cancer in the pancreas, you don't feel that, and unless it makes such a giant lump that it sticks out or something, you're not even going to notice that. So until it spreads to another part of your body where you can feel it and, then go to the doctor, the doctor's not even going to really check for it. You go to a physical, they don't check you for pancreatic cancer, Maybe if you happen to get a blood test, they would see cancer cells floating around in there. But even then, you're in big trouble if you're already that far gone. So it's pretty much the worst. Everything's the worst.
Yeah, and it's, like and Emily and I were talking about this a lot last night. There are some people who are artists, like Jim Henson, where they did no wrong and they kind of were taken away suddenly when they still had a lot more potential. And there are people who start out just as strong, but either complete their career and just go down in history as legends.
Yeah,
or the one like the Michael Jackson who start out
and they're weird when they die.
And something weird happens and it doesn't quite have the same impact.
No. It's definitely far more, because we met him once, right? The man lived, too short, but 47 years.
But he had such impact on me. I couldn't help but think back to meeting him, and it was tough.
Yeah, but it's like
it hurts that he was so cool in person too.
Yeah, he was just a normal guy. It's like it wasn't like, meanwhile somebody like the Nish who's all drugged up and whatnot and playing with guns is just fine, right?
What was it? Someone on FARC, they were talking about this, and he basically said, why couldn't it have been M. Night?
Well, and I went to 2chan, and there was a gigantic thread with like thousands of posts in it, right? And I pumped it through the Google Translator, and the only one that I saw that was kind of funny and well translated, or relatively well translated, was a short comment. It said, "Please, instead of Satoshi Kon, is Mamoru Oshii." And it's like, Mamoru Oshii, he made a lot of great animes, probably more great animes than Satoshi Kon has made, but it's like he's sort of done-ish, It's like he made Skycrawlers, which is pretty good, but I would put Skycrawlers below pretty much everything.
Well, Oshii has the problem,
Satoshi Kon has done.
as we always say, where the things he's best at are the things he least seems to want to do.
Yeah.
We want him to make action comedy anime. He wants to make
so
serious,
it's like
drawn-out live action.
If Mamoru Oshii died, it's like it would be sad, but it wouldn't be as sad.
Well, I guess
I mean, even if Miyazaki died, it wouldn't be as sad.
There's a confluence of factors around Satoshi Kon that made the impact just universally felt among anyone who enjoys art.
Mm-hmm.
It's a dark day for anime too. I mean,
I think
the entire landscape of anime and animation has changed.
Probably. I mean, you look at just celebrity deaths in general, and it's rare that you see one that comes so early in someone who is so awesome, who has still a lot to go and didn't have any weirdness at all. Even when you see something like a River Phoenix, right? It's like, well, he was drugged up. It's like there was, you're not gonna, cry over someone who's all drug addicted and whatnot.
Well, you will, but I don't know. It feels different.
The other thing is that we weren't really alive when John Lennon was shot. I think that's pretty much one of the only things you can compare it to.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that people who lived through that feel about the same way that we do now.
Yeah.
What really got me, though, was the final update on the website. To quote Satoshi Kon, basically his last public words. "With feelings of gratitude for all that is good in the world, I put down my pen. Well, I'll be leaving now."
That's pretty much it.
So, on a more lighthearted note, things of the day.
All right, want me to go?
You want to go?
So
I have two.
You're not allowed to have two.
I got two.
I got this problem lately, right? Where, I want
Does it itch?
No. where I want to go somewhere, maybe on my bicycle or some such, right?
Yeah,
but I gotta carry some things like wallet, phone, keys, that sort of thing.
You could carry a purse.
Right. So I put my bag, and I take
It
my
has to match the shoes, obviously.
I take
and
my
know you
whole
have
I take
trouble-
my whole bag to work, right, on my back, but that's a lot to carry. And if I'm not going somewhere where I need to carry that whole bag, Timbuktu bag, that's a big pain in the butt to carry that huge bag.
I'll admit the bag was much more useful when I had the long commute. Now I don't really care. I carry nothing on me.
Yeah, but I still need to carry some stuff. Now the thing is, I can put it in my pockets if I'm walking, but if I'm biking, phone might just come out of the pocket, land in the street, get run over by a car.
What kind of pants are you wearing? Nothing falls out of pockets.
If I'm biking, it totally could.
Nah, you got terrible pants then.
I guess I'm not wearing tight girly jeans where everything is like right up next to my skin like you. But anyway, I found this product, which is not our existing product yet, but check it out. This is the Fit Kit.
I've seen a million things like that. You can buy them for like $10.
But look at this
Target.
one. But look, this one is like totally perfect. And it even has a Metro card in the picture. I mean, and an iPhone 4. It's like, that's for me, right? I have a Metro card and an iPhone.
It's one of those fancy things you wrap around your arm and it holds your wallet.
But look, you can also wrap it around a water bottle or a
any
yoga mat.
cylindrically shaped object.
Right. Now, here's the more interesting thing than this awesome product itself, right, which is pretty awesome, is the website it's on is a website called Quirky.com. And the way Quirky works is it's sort of like Kickstarter for cool shit. All right. So you go on here and you have a product and you put up images of this product you've designed. And after you put up a price and you put up the discounted price, and as soon as a certain number of people buy it, then it becomes a real product. And if it never becomes a real product, they never charge you because they don't charge you until it's ready. So I basically made a promise to pay $25, but they didn't actually take any dollars from me. So if it never happens, it never happens. But if it does happen, I totally get one. And this site has a bunch of other cool products. Like, here's some things to help you, here, look at this, a crazy Swiss Army knife thing. And here's a dustpan that has little prongs in it to let you clean the broom more easily. And here's a thing to help you cool wine without getting water all over the place.
Uh-huh.
So
That's cool.
Yeah. There's a whole bunch of cool stuff on here. It's sort of like Kickstarter, Etsy combo.
Much more important is this mashup of the Fuck You song that has been making the rounds lately with the Shawshank Redemption.
That's a pretty good mashup.
I like this
Fuck
sort of
you.
thing. I mean, we see it every now and then. Sometimes people do a music video.
I think the ooh, that's the best part of the song.
Was it done with a violin 4 times?
No.
You sure?
Yeah.
I don't know. I like this sort of thing. That you did. It's almost like when you have the idea for the anime music video that's just perfect. Like, what if I just did Linkin Park crawling to Dragon Ball Z? Like, it fits so well that you just got to do it. Well, this is a situation
Not
where you
in
just
the
do
end.
it. I mean, look at this movie. Does this song, had that song existed in the time and when the movie was made, would it not have worked?
I forget the actual song that was used in the movie.
In my mind, it's already rewritten as fuck you too. I wonder, I think we're going to see more and more, this is a total aside, mainstream-ish songs that have such vulgar language in them that the radio really can't even get away with bleeping it out like they do already.
The thing is, this isn't a mainstream song. It's like an internet song.
But what about when that becomes mainstream?
Then
Of course,
people
won't
won't
radio
be
be gone by
listening to
then?
the radio anymore.
So, what's the radio going to play? Just 50s music forever?
It'll just be internets only.
Yeah?
That's it.
So, because that was kind of weak, I mean, it's fun, but you can watch the first 30 seconds of this and you'll get it.
Yeah. And unless you haven't seen the Shawshank Redemption.
I mean, they
in
get
which
points.
case, what the fuck is wrong with you?
They get points for executing to completion.
Get thee to the Netflix.
Because I will admit that the original Born to Be Alive with Hitler
Born.
was just a concept. They're like, hey, here's the joke, and they made like a 30-second music video. But this guy had the joke and made the full thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
it wasn't much work. You didn't even really have to edit the video at all.
nobody edited the audio to make it fit with the scene changes very well. He also modulated it. It took some work.
Yeah.
But to make up for the fact that that wasn't punchy, I present to you a video of a kid putting an egg on a skateboard and trying to launch it in the air as a catapult.
Well, isn't this just a freaking owned video? I mean,
It is,
come on.
but-
Can't you get something better than that?
So here's why I picked this over all the owned videos that I could have picked. One, the kid clearly thinks that something awesome is going to happen. He puts the egg...
He's not even aiming at anyone from what I can tell.
Exactly. I don't even know why he's filming this. He puts the egg on the skateboard, stands in front of it, and then stomps on the skateboard. Now, there is no possible outcome but this just hitting him in the face. And it does, in fact, hit him in the face, as you would expect, which is fine. That would be an own video. But then he puts his arms down, and he stands there looking at himself with this look of, how the fuck did that happen? Like, he does not realize what he has wrought, that he did not foresee. And that, the last second of this video, is why it is my thing of the day.
All right. I wish that someone could make a video where they launch an egg into the air off the skateboard and then sort of catch it without breaking it in some awesome parkourish trick. Or maybe we should start a new subgenre of parkour where you have an egg with you, but you're not allowed to put the egg in any sort of sling or holster or grab it. The egg has to be free moving as well. And you sort of have to tap it or bobble it or whatever.
Egg parkour.
Or dribble it.
No, egg parkour. You just have a race.
And
first
parkour
one to
simultaneously.
First one to the top of the building with the egg wins.
But you can't actually grasp the egg. You have to the egg has to be in motion. You know, sort of like in basketball.
Or bottle.
Yeah. That would be, or like you could balance it on your head. That would be okay, like all the way. Double egg all the way.
So we went to the theater not that long ago, in fact, this weekend, and we saw a slightly older anime movie, a Miyazaki movie that we had not seen.
A Studio Ghibli movie.
Yes, Studio Ghibli, Miyazaki, can't lose, right? Which Miyazaki
wrong
was that?
Miyazaki.
Was that Hayao Miyazaki?
No, it's Goro.
Goro, make good tournament schedule.
I'm sorry, Goro.
Goro.
Nepotism give you job.
Ursula K. Le Guin, sadly, probably said it best. Because, Gedo Senki, Tales of Earthsea, is nominally based on 4 of the Earthsea books.
Well, I think it's mostly based on the third one, which I read a long time ago.
But it says it's based on all of them.
It's not even really based on it. It's based on them in that they use the same proper nouns. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. And even then, they say Ged like once. The title is Gedo Senki, and yet they refer to him as Sparrowhawk the whole time. I think his name Ged gets said once.
Well, that's in the book. That's usually how it goes as well.
Well, yes, for
but
obvious
the thing
reasons.
is, if you have never read the books, you have no fucking clue.
Yeah, why?
And if Ged is in the title, why is the main character Aaron the Prince guy?
Ursula K. Le Guin first said, and I quote, "It is not my book.
No kidding.
It is your movie. It is a good movie." But then later she said, and I quote, and this really, really, really puts it into perspective. "This was the result of, quote, when too much responsibility was shouldered by someone not equipped for it."
Mm-hmm.
This movie was pretty terrible.
Well, it wasn't. I wouldn't say it's terrible.
All right,
I would just say I would just say it was mediocre.
I will say this: if you remove the fact that the animation is lush and beautiful, if remove the beauty of the animation, the technical beauty of the film,
mm-hmm.
it's not even mediocre. The plot consists of basically nothing. I would argue that the vast majority of the scenes in this movie do not advance any plot or any character's motivation whatsoever.
I think the scenes that really get me are, scenes where maybe there's 2 kinds of scenes that really bothered me, right? One is the kind of thing where you think it's an interesting scene and maybe they're setting something up and maybe something will come of it.
And then they don't.
And it's useless. Like the scene where he gets like accosted by the drug dealer. It's like, oh, that was kind of interesting. The dealer was an interesting character and maybe something would happen there. And no, it was completely, in the whole context of the movie, that scene didn't even mean anything.
And the worst part is, so later in the movie, right? Dude gets poisoned, and his lips turn the same color as that poison, and because of the plot, you think, oh, maybe they're doing something. Nope, not at all.
And nothing
not
to do with
related.
it.
Neither scene was necessary.
The other kind of scene that bothered me is the nothing scene. Like, put the ox in the barn.
Okay, I will go put the ox in the barn. Cut to the barn.
He
He opens
literally
the
put the
door.
ox in the barn 2 or 3 times, but never did he actually put the ox in the barn.
Now, the thing is, a scene like that is fine. We love Oshii movies where there's just long stretches
Yeah,
of nothing.
look at Evangelion. How many awesome scenes are there where someone's just quietly walking down the street or looking out the window while you hear the cicadas and look at the trees
In
to
Skycrawlers,
remind you that it's summer and it's really hot.
I was enraptured by a scene where he sits there for a while, slowly gets up, turns around, opens the fridge, gets an orange soda, closes his fridge, turns around, slowly drinks it.
Yep.
But in all those movies, every time you see this, atmosphere is what makes anime good. Atmosphere is one of the things that's common in anime that we like. When they'll have scenes that set an atmosphere or a mood. And those sorts of scenes are often missing from Western film. But when those scenes add nothing to the movie whatsoever and literally are just boring and might
Well, I think what makes them boring, right, in this movie is that think about the cicadas from Evangelion, right? It's just nothing really moves. There's nothing happening. It's just cricket, cricket, cricket. It's summer, cicada, 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 right?
Well, the cicadas,
but you look at this in this movie. What would you get instead? You would get quiet. Look, here is a building, and you see one of the characters walking slowly and quietly. They're just walking, and they're doing something completely mundane and not symbolic in any way. They're actually doing something like, plowing a field or cooking something, and it's not symbolic. It's not setting a mood. It's just someone doing something. It's like you might as well show me his whole walk through the grocery store, comparing the cereals and picking one, and then checking out one item at a time, and then bagging the groceries. It's like it's not symbolic.
See, I think it's
not setting a mood. It's just someone doing boring shit.
I think the trouble is even more fundamental than that, because in movies where there are like a long slice of life scene, like you see, all right, they're farming. Maybe the farming and the plowing is because they're bonding over something. Maybe there's some kind of implicit character development, or maybe they've already set up that you like these characters, and now they're giving you this slice of life so that later, when their routine is ruined by the plot, you feel sympathetic for them being pulled out of that environment.
Like you plow the field and then you plow the field again, but then something happens during that. So
or
it's
you
like,
plow the field and you get all the screen time about plowing the field in the montage of them doing this stuff.
Or maybe they're
and then later the field gets destroyed.
Or maybe they're giving advice about plowing the field, and something about plowing the field brings up some sort of lesson, some life lesson about plowing, like work hard or something. And
the movie
later
even
on,
sets that up.
he says the same thing again when he's got to fight the bad guy. Like, remember the plowing of the field.
Wax on, wax off.
Exactly. That's exactly what they.
There's a scene where the main character is plowing and Ged is helping him plow,
and he gets blisters.
And he's like, "Do you have blisters?" And he looks at his hand, and then they show us the blisters. We're like, "Oh, he's got blisters." Now maybe they're setting up some metaphor for he was nobility. He'd never worked the land before. He'd never lived a normal life. Maybe they're setting up some sort. There's all sorts of things they could have been doing. No. Then Ged says, we should want to rest a little bit. Okay, they rest, they continue, that never comes up again.
Here, you want to hear something? Here's something probably the worst thing in the whole movie, right? So the opening scene of the movie, the prince kills the king.
Oh, all right. So I think we should just...
No, but wait, that's not the worst part of it. For a reason that's never explained or explored.
That doesn't come up at all.
But the real problem, right, was remember those 2 girls who were like appealing for the prince?
I forgot about that.
All right, so there's these girls appealing for the prince, and as if they're going to be important characters, and there's something about them.
The movie
but
pulls a bait
they're
and
not in
switch.
the movie at all, ever. Not after that one scene. And that means not it.
What about Root? No character from the beginning of the movie is in the end of the movie or even the middle of the movie. Now, if it was a Hitchcock movie, Psycho starts with a heist, and this woman's getting away with the heist, and then, oh shit, serial killer, and no one saw that coming. I guess I spoiled Psycho if you've never seen it.
Well, no, as long as you didn't spoil Psycho, which is actually a popular movie.
But this isn't
no one really
Psycho.
wants to see Psycho.
Imagine if, The Matrix started, right? And you meet all these characters, and what is the Matrix? And Neo and Morpheus. And then it just kind of cuts to these other people, and that's the whole rest of the movie, and they never go back to Neo.
Except for one character who's still there. But that's it.
Yeah, but even then, the prince, is barely there. He's not in the beginning. He's not there at all.
Oh, that's right. He doesn't appear. They just sort of talk about the prince until he actually kills his dad. He just sort of comes out. Nope, that's it.
So you don't even know it's his dad at first. So here's the movie, right? It opens.
So the movie would open with all the characters of the Matrix, and then some guy would stab Morpheus, and the movie would be about the guy who stabbed Morpheus, and Morpheus and none of the other characters would ever appear again.
So the movie starts, right? It opens, credits, Miyazaki movie, let's go. And there's a ship, and it's all beautiful, and there's dragons, and the dragons fight, and that never happens. And you think
they just threw the dragons in their fightings just so that they could open with an action scene with the stuff going on.
And you wonder, what's this setting
up? And the
up?
dragons have nothing to do with the story at all.
Dragons basically don't come back until the end, and they come back in a way that is unrelated to the dragons.
Mm-hmm.
So dragon scene stops. Now we're in the kingdom. And, there's all this political stuff and political discussions, and the king's asking Root, who I guess is the wizard of the court, what's going on? The world is shifting, all this craziness. And then this kid runs out of nowhere and stabs the king.
Yep.
That
You don't even really get that he's the prince until a little while later.
I barely remember what happens after that, and the next thing I know, that we've got Ged, Sparrowhawk, and the kid, and they're hanging out with this woman in Taru, this other girl who has a burn on her face.
Well, you didn't read the tomb. That's the thing, right? They borrow all these proper nouns from all the Earthsea books.
See, I'm pretending I know nothing about Earthsea.
Well, you've only read one book, right?
I started the second one and then I got distracted.
Okay, but I mean, it's so they give you all these proper nouns. The characters have the same names and sort of the same roles. But on the one hand, they really only take the proper nouns. They don't take anything else about the characters, really. But at the same time, the characters have a lot of discussions that will make no sense if you haven't read the books. Like, they'll talk about the Wizards of Roke a bunch. You have no clue who the Wizards of Roke are if you haven't read the Earthsea books. You'd be like, what the fuck? Roke? What?
But the worst thing
what is Roke?
All right, so mentioning all these things, adding all this side stuff in, none of that matters at all.
It doesn't actually factor into the plot you see in the movie in any way whatsoever, but they spend time having characters discuss it.
So I would argue that nothing factors into the plot of the movie. The plot of the movie, if I had to summarize it, is dude kills his dad, wanders off, meets an old guy, they hang out on a farm for a while, pedophile kidnaps him, his shadow comes and gives a sword to a girl who turns out to be a dragon.
But she's not a dragon, but she is.
Yeah,
but there's no reason why.
Yeah.
And her name is Tahanu, which is the name of the fourth Earthsea book.
Now, immediately after the... All right, so I don't care if you've seen the movie or not. We're just spoiling it because there's nothing to spoil.
Yeah, you don't need to go see it.
At the end of the movie, the girl just turns into a dragon. No foreshadowing whatsoever. In fact, the pedophile old guy kills her.
No explanation whatsoever.
And he does a funny dance. He kills her, and then he kind of goes like, I guess she's dead. She's dead. She's dead. She's dead. She's dead. And then she stands back up, and she's like, I'm not dead. And then she turns into a dragon and kills him.
Okay.
Wow. Now, you're thinking, all right, so maybe, the dragons never fight with each other. And they told us earlier that Teru's mother and father had left her to die and burned her, and that's where she got the scar. And they were dead, something like that. So they set this up, and in the beginning of the movie, 2 dragons were fighting, and one dragon killed another dragon, or at least injured it severely.
And that was supposed to let you know something's wrong with the world.
So
the balance is fucked up.
Imagine if the dragon that had fallen was her, and she didn't remember she was a dragon until just then. Or what if she was the daughter of the 2 dragons that had fought, and that was the plot of her real, and the whole, what if she was the protagonist? That would have been an awesome movie.
Well, this gives you something else, right? Is that we watched the dub in the theater, and you know what? Disney's usually pretty good with the Miyazaki dubbing.
They definitely phoned this one in.
They phoned it in so bad. There were some names in there that were pretty relatively big, not as big as like the names they had on Mononoke and stuff.
Cheech Marin's in there.
Yeah, but really, this dub is so phoned in, and I'm not sure if... I can't tell because they didn't have any subtitles or anything. Not that I could understand Japanese anyway, but like... The dub acting was phoned in, but regardless, the dub script was bad. But was it the dub script that was bad, or was it a good script and just the original script was bad?
I am pretty sure the original script was bad.
I feel like it was a combination of original bad script and dubbed bad
No,
script.
because going back through the scenes, I can think of no point where any different words said by any character would have made the movie better.
That's true, but even so, it was some of the people said some pretty stupid shit.
What was with the pedophile at the end? What did he comes out of nowhere. He's just, oh shit, he's there. Oh shit, he poisons
We gotta go get the
Aaron.
bad guy. Where's the bad guy? That's the bad guy. We're suddenly showing you a bad guy. He's obviously bad.
And even then, what'd he do?
He was bad.
What'd he do?
He upset the balance.
But how?
He was looking evil and casting evil magic. You knew it was evil because it was purple.
So
dark purple.
I like how he uses
He
his
wore
powers.
black and lived in a castle where everything was black.
See, here's where the
and
movie
he hired guys who were slave
really obviously
traders.
starts to break down. So he's a pedophile, I guess. He acts like one, talks like one, looks like one.
Hey
and
there.
he's kind of I don't remember exactly what happens, but eventually the heroes come to save everybody, and he gets his head cut off. Or his hand cut off. I don't even remember. And then suddenly he turns into a blob, and he grabs the girl and runs away super fast as a blob. And once he gets a little bit away, he turns back into a slow old man and starts hobbling away like 1 mile an hour.
That is one thing that's I've noticed in a lot of Ghibli movies, right? Is they really love to draw anything that's sort of liquidy and swarmy, even if it's not a Hayao Miyazaki movie, right? Like beginning of Princess Mononoke, the whole big wormy covered warthog beast, right? And then you've got in Spirited Away, you've got when the things are all splashing down in the crazy bathtub, right? The big black ooze thing that comes in, they have to wash it, right? And then in Ponyo, there's all the water is always going right all over the place. And is there a movie in the middle that I was missing? Oh, Howl's Moving Castle, I guess, sort of had it. I can't remember a specific scene.
Okay,
but they,
anyway.
and then the black in this movie, the guy turns into like a black slime and is all sploosh everywhere.
But he only runs like 100 feet with that, then he turns back into
But
a slow old
I'm
man.
just saying that Ghibli people love to draw that for some reason.
And
you know?
even better, so they're chasing him. He climbs up a tower, so the main character chases him, and they get to the top of the tower, and they're going to have their confrontation.
Wasn't it great when the stairs he was climbing got crushed, but there just happened to be 2 platforms, just like a video game, that happened to not be crushed so he could make the jump?
And then when they get to the top, and they're about to have their face off, the bad guy just goes hee-hee around the corner and climbs up another flight of stairs, and then they have the face off there. Why? Why?
Gosh dang.
And why does he kill Taru?
And why did it take so long to get up there?
By making his arm turn all blobby and muscly around her.
Yeah.
Like, what was up with that?
Just go stab or something. I don't know.
I'm at a loss to tell you what happened in this
When
movie.
you have the up the stairs chase, you're supposed to have action, like a guy throwing rocks at the other guy, you know? Where was the action? There was no action scene choreography whatsoever.
It didn't matter because they did the top, nothing happened. It didn't matter what was going to happen because she was a dragon and she's just going to kill him.
Yeah.
That there's nothing that could have stopped her from killing him.
It's really sad because, the Earthsea books are so great, and a great movie, great TV show, great anime adaptation, great comic adaptation could be made of them easily, right? It's not like some other fantasy novels where they're difficult to adapt. These are pretty easy to adapt in my mind anyway. I can easily imagine it as an excellent movie that is faithful to the books. However, we've had so far a TV miniseries that was horrendous, and because of that TV miniseries, this movie was delayed in its American release. So this movie finally comes out in America when the license for that TV miniseries that was so terrible is gone, and it's also terrible. What the fuck? What the fuck?
But this movie was terrible in an extra special way because it was boring as fuck.
One guy in the theater fell asleep, and some
Yep.
other guy kicked him. Was like, "Hey."
I fell asleep for a couple of moments.
I didn't fall asleep, but I was just at no point was I excited or caring.
I was excited in the beginning. Because, all right, dragons fighting, and then there's obviously this big political plot building, and I'm thinking, all right, maybe this isn't so bad. Where's it going to go? It's still a Ghibli. It's got to, what'd you do to my movie? She's a dragon.
I don't know why. Like, why did they feel the need to rewrite the whole thing? Why didn't they just take the first book, and turn it into a movie.
Well,
and that's it.
All right, so say
Done.
they're rewriting
And the thing
thing.
is, that first book has all sorts of great Ghibli moments. Like when you go to the Isle of Roke and you got to talk to the gatekeeper guy, right? And I mean, that's so awesome. That's such a Ghibli kind of thing. And then rowing on the boat.
And the end of the book, that's like the Ghibli climax, just already written, ready to go. Just
you don't have to
animated.
change shit. Just take that book, boom, there's your screenplay, and animate it, and done. You don't
But even worse, this wasn't just an adaptation. It's kind of like Goro just stole like random bits from the movies. Like Aaron just happens to have a shadow following him that wasn't explained.
It was also supposedly based on something else that like Hayao Miyazaki had written. So it's like he combined 4 books that Ursula K. Le Guin had written, and then one thing his dad had written, and mixed them together, and then poop came out.
It's hard to say. Like, I don't hate this movie.
Yeah, it's not like I hate it. Like, oh, it's terrible, never see it.
But it is one of the worst movies I've ever seen all the way to completion.
It's just bad. Just don't.
And if
it's not like, oh god, it's the worst. No, I hate this thing. It can go die in a fire. It's just like, this is bad. Ignore.
Why does Aaron?
It's not. And the thing is, it's not even funny bad. Like, where's the funny?
There's nothing to make fun of.
It's not like an MD Geist where you can be like, oh man.
Other than the penis sword.
The boob sword.
Everyone called it something different, but everyone laughed when the sword came out.
The thing is, I really, to be honest, Emily told me the sword looks like boobs because in the hilt of the sword are 2 round...
2 nuts, and then it comes off like a penis. There's a glands at the bottom.
The thing is, if Emily hadn't said anything, I would not personally have noticed or thought it
but she didn't
phallic in any way that any other sword is
She
not
didn't
phallic.
say anything to me.
She told me it was a boob sword.
And my first thought was, if you take the blade off of that, it's just a dick.
Well, she told me it was a boob sword, so that's why I noticed. But if no one said anything, I would not have thought the sword in any way strange.
I don't know. I thought it was a dick.
All right, well, I mean, every sword is phallic, but I mean, it was not... I would not have noticed anything amiss about the design of the sword if she had not said it was the boob sword.
So is it just me, or did no character have any actual motivation other than Hare, the slave guy?
Yeah.
He was the only one. He's like, I'm evil.
But he was pretty much, like, a lot of the movie was just stolen from Nausicaa, right? Like, there's a lot of the clothing and character designs. And he was straight up, like, totally based on those people who, the evil flying people. Oh, from Lapta, though. The people that are flying that are no good, right? I can't even remember which one of the Ghibli movies it was that had the sort of people, the sort of group of like 4 people who would fly around and were not good. But we're sort of like half good guys. Oh, what the hell? Was that Lapita or was it Nausicaa? I don't remember. You don't remember either, do you?
I'm reading the summary of the plot of the part that I fell asleep through, and I didn't miss much.
Okay. But I mean, you know what I'm talking, those people, it's like there's a mom and like the sons, I guess. And
that's Lapita, Scott.
Okay, Lapta. Yeah, he was totally a lot like those guys,
Except he never turned good. He was just evil the whole time.
No, I mean those people turned good and he didn't. But in all other respects, he's sort of like the minion.
He was
bad
also
guy.
boring evil. His character motivation consisted of ha ha ha, I am evil and a slaver and it's awesome.
That's it.
But like Ged, he just kind of wandered slowly and didn't really do anything.
I've only seen Lapta once. I should probably watch that again.
Wow. Taharu basically is just pissy, and then the very end is a dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And in between, she has her moment when she rips the stake out of the ground and goes running.
Yeah.
But why didn't she rip it out like 3 hours ago if it was so easy to do?
I don't know.
And Aaron, the main character, has zero motivation and just kind of sits there until the very end of the movie when Taharu shows up and says, "Here's your sword that you had before and then lost."
But that was the other him, right? Or was it?
No, the other him told her to give the sword to the real him and then disappeared. But didn't rejoin with him or anything. It didn't even kind of follow the Earthsea book there. And then suddenly he turns
None of it followed the Earthsea book.
He turns into a Miyazaki hero and suddenly he's all badass and active and motivated when up until that point he had never been and nothing had changed.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you could argue that because she knew his true name, she spelled him into doing that, but she was a total bitch to him before, and then suddenly she changed, and there was no reason for that. The mommy character just kind of stood around being a mommy and never did anything.
Yeah. Oh, so do you want to wrap it up?
Oh, you feel kind of bored with this? We can't even make fun of it. If this was like high-velocity wolf cannons, there'd be something to make fun of, but this movie is just flat and boring. If you cut out every scene that does not directly advance the plot, the movie literally is a 30-second clip of someone standing on a roof, turning into a dragon, and killing an evil wizard. The end.
The end. There's a bad guy. We got it.
Dragons kill him.
Yes. There aren't even like really interesting designs of anything.
The dragons I liked. I liked how the sparks and shimmering were coming out of their
but like
scales.
there weren't even like interesting creatures or interesting magic spells.
Other than the dragons.
Yeah, everything was so tame. I guess the horse had an interesting design.
Yeah.
The horse camel.
Kind of a chocobo camel horse.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I want one. I'll take it.
But then again, why was it in the movie and why did they do stuff with it, but it didn't matter? They kept like, oh, they saved it, but it doesn't matter. Oh, here it is. It's happy to see them. Great.
I'm a camel horse.
Remember when Ged turns around with the ugly face and Trick's hair? Why was that scene even there?
That was a funny scene.
Why did he even bother having him lose the sword and get it back again? That had no effect on the plot at all, because Ged just went and got the sword like right away.
Yeah.
He just went to the pawn shop guy and bought it. I mean, and they introduced that whole
I
thing
guess
about...
it's in some ways you could view it as a people just do the smart thing movie, which is what we want, right? It's like, oh, you lost the sword? All right, I'll go get it.
So did Tara know she was
But
a dragon?
the problem is that it's also boring because even though it's an always do the smart thing movie, there's never any serious conflict.
I would
to
argue
threaten anyone.
It is not
so...
a everyone does the smart thing movie because Ged doesn't do fucking anything.
No, he doesn't.
And Aaron doesn't do anything until...
Well, that's another thing is that, right, Ged is supposed to be like, you know, he's like the Gandalf of that world, right? He is the number one guy.
Wait,
and
is he the Archmage or the Archmage?
That's an example of a really bad dubbing part, right? Someone says Archmage instead of Archmage. But anyway, he's supposed to be the Gandalf of that world. He is serious business. And after the first book, he, you know, isn't really the focus. Even when he, you know, he's in it all the time. But like when he in the Tombs of Atuan, he's sort of in the background. They're mostly focusing on the girl who needs to be rescued from the tombs, and then he sort of does the rescuing. He's sort of in the background character. He's not ever focused on like that. So the fact that you're already beyond the first book, well beyond it, but you're focusing on him, and it doesn't work. That's not how it's supposed to be. It doesn't, you know.
Well, why was Aaron the main character? He didn't do anything. The movie
He was the main character
he
of
wasn't.
the third book.
Yeah, but we're talking about this movie. What did he do? He did nothing.
Nothing.
This would have been such a good movie if they'd made Teru the main character and make the whole thing, you know, forget the kid, or maybe he's there, but he's a side character. Ged and the kid come to her, you know, little village, and they disrupt, and then she figures out that she's a dragon and saves the day. They could have made a really good movie. There,
They
I
could
did
also,
it.
You know what's a really good movie?
I'm smarter than Goro.
Take the first Earthsea book and just read it, and that's it. Don't put any other shit in there at all. Don't touch it.
Maybe animated.
No touching. No touching.
I was
The thing that disappoints me the most, right, is I heard that Miyazaki said something along the lines of, I don't want to give my kids any help, right? They got to make it on their own.
Well, they got to make it on their own directing, but he'll have all the animators they want.
Yeah, right? It's like these Ghibli animators, they're like some of the best animators in the world. And he basically, because this guy was Miyazaki's son, okay, maybe Miyazaki didn't help him direct, but you know what? He helped him by providing the team of the best animators in the world and forcing them to
draw really long, boring, slow scenes of a dude walking around.
really well.
It was animated beautifully, but nothing
it's
happens.
That is such a crime. They could have been working on something else better, but instead they were working on this that whole time. What the fuck? Right?
The movie won the Bunshun Raspberry Award for Worst Movie in Japan.
Oh, snap.
And Goro Miyazaki won Worst Director.
It's definitely the worst Studio Ghibli has ever made. There is no question.
And it is in the list, because remember, I always say like something is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. I do not finish movies that are worse than a certain line. The worst movie I have ever watched to completion was Clifford, with Martin Short playing a 10-year-old boy. The second worst movie I've ever watched to completion was the movie that M. Night Shyamalan wanted to make about Avatar had he not unfortunately died. This is in the top 10 of the worst movies I've ever watched to completion.
I don't know. I mean, you got to put things in there like Great Digital Target, and there's a lot. But it's definitely like 50.
Great Digital Target, I can make fun of. There are things to say about it. Stuff happened in it. I can make jokes about torsos climbing.
Yeah, it's definitely lowest 50, definitely.
I can make
Probably
some-
lowest 25, maybe.
I can make some pedophile jokes about Lord Cobb because he is totally a pedophile.
Yeah,
That's about it.
that's it. All right.
Don't watch this
Don't
movie.
spend money on it. Don't even spend your time on it.
I'll tell you what.
Maybe you should, like, if you can get it, just kind of skip through it.
Watch the first 5 minutes. Watch it up until dude gets stabbed, and then watch the last 3 or 4 minutes.
Also, read the fucking Earthsea books. The first one was one of our earliest book clubs. Read them all. Hello. Good books. Read. Eyeballs. They're not long.
Why the fuck was she a dragon? That wasn't foreshadowed at all.
Because they gotta have dragons in the movie, otherwise it wouldn't be cool.
Uh,
You gotta have dragons and swords.
Yep.
It's a fantasy movie.
Start with dragons, end with dragons, and nothing in the middle really mattered. This has been Geek Nights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music, Kat Lee for web design, and Brando K for the logos.
Be sure to visit our website at frontrowcrew.com for show notes, discussion, news, and more.
Remember, Geek Nights is not one, but 4 different shows. Sci-Tech Mondays, Gaming Tuesdays, Anime Comic Wednesdays, and Indiscriminate Thursdays.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night. You don't think I could do it, huh? Come here. I dare you.